So the fun begins. The car is mine. So what did I buy? This is a 2013 Toyota Land Cruiser 78 Troop Carrier with the 4.2 normally aspirated straight six diesel engine. I know some of you are saying, oh Andrew, not another Troop Carrier. I really do sympathize, but okay, hear me. This vehicle, the basic Land Cruiser, is the optimum touring vehicle in Africa because it's incredibly simple. No simpler vehicle is available on the planet. B, they are known by everybody in Africa. There are spares throughout Africa. It's the most well-supported vehicle, bar none. But learning from past mistakes, this time I did have the vehicle closely inspected by a Land Cruiser expert.
Just need to repair it. Cowling is broken, you need to replace that.
An engine that's so underpowered it can hardly pull the skin off a rice pudding.
Belts and stuff looks good, there's no water leaks or oil leaks. Power steering also no leaks.
But it's incredibly reliable.
Fuel pump also looks good, no leaks there. And also on the side of the motor there's no leaks, that looks good.
Okay, the other thing is that I did look at 76s. 76 is a station wagon. What would I do with it? I would put in gull windows and a drawer system and a fridge. It's a station wagon. We built a station wagon in 2019 based on the 105. Actually, it's very little effort to lift it. Very little effort. All right, here you go. This is actually a kitchen unit. It's not a traditional drawer system because, well, you'll see in a minute. I did the interior build in one day. The entire thing in one day. Watch this. Products, bolt it in, battery, connect it, done. One day. I'm sad to be leaving, actually, to be honest with you. Man, I'd love to take this thing on a trip now. I don't want to build it in one day. I want to refine it and get it perfect. I also thought about the 79. A 79 single cab was the one vehicle that really did stand ahead, and I thought, okay, I can do something meaningful with a 79, even though it's a single cab, bit of a challenge for me, but I could work with it, with a camper on the back. And the camper that caught my eye is the Alucab Kaya. It seemed to tick a lot of boxes, but for weight distribution, I think it'll work better on a single cab than a double cab. Very few double cabs can carry this kind of weight and still perform very well off-road. All right, here's the problem with a camper on the back. Cost. It was a pure cost issue. If you're going to build a budget vehicle, which is what I'm going to do. Remember, this build is not all the bells and this is a budget build. So every one of you who said to me, your vehicle's, top of the line, it's got all the accessories and everything. How about more a budget build that we could all possibly afford? Here you go. That's what this is. It's a budget build. But based on a Troop Carrier because value-wise, it's by far the best. Because four-wheel drive enthusiasts, unless they are overlanders like myself, don't particularly like the Troop Carrier. It's very, very good at one thing, but not terribly good at a lot of things. You must be thinking I've lost my mind saying it's not very good at very many things. All right, what's it not good at? It's not particularly comfortable. It's very noisy inside. It's not particularly frugal, not overly thirsty, but not frugal either. You don't have a lot of room when driving it. You don't have a lot of space like you would in a modern station wagon. And it's top heavy. You can make this vehicle very comfortable and capable of doing really long stretches with no difficulty at all, and comfortable enough to do that well, but not brilliantly. And the top heaviness, yeah, you got to deal with it. That's the nature of the car. This vehicle has 500,000 kilometers on it. So that's another part of this project. What does a vehicle look like when you take it apart that's done 500,000 kilometers? And what do you do to get it right and renew it without spending a fortune?
Rear flange is dry. The gearbox got the leak on the front prop shaft. And then the front diffs is dry.
And would it be better to buy an older vehicle and do work on it, or buy a much newer vehicle?
Front hubs and turret ends looks fairly okay still. It's quite as dry on the hubs also.
Because remember, if you buy an older vehicle, even though it's got high mileage, and you sort out the issues and the possible wear and tear, etc., you've got a vehicle that is not only brand new, but you know what it's like. You buy a vehicle that is, got a lower mileage. There was one available on the same lot with considerably less mileage, same age, same price. We didn't buy it because it actually wasn't in as good condition. It hadn't been looked after as well. And of course, you buy a vehicle and not do much work on it, you're driving something that you know nothing about. So here's the other alternative. Buy a vehicle with high mileage, low cost, and invest the money that you've saved in getting it right and refurbishing the worn components. If I look at the photographs, the vehicle is in remarkably good condition. It's 10 years old, and there's virtually no rust. If you look at the top of the chassis crossmember underneath the back doors, it's been rubbed to bare metal, yet that bare metal isn't rusty. Look at the condition of the axles. The CV joint oil seals look almost new. And if I look closely at the undercarriage, no rust at all. Because there is barely a month from this point to the point where I actually collect it in South Africa and actually start doing the build, I have gone on to the Terrain Tamer website, and I'm busy now creating a list of parts. I wanted to see, because Terrain Tamer is donating the parts to the project just like they did in 2019, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going through the catalogue as if I was an ordinary customer and making a list. The guy in the United States, I think he's in South Carolina, he's building a troop carrier and I'm helping him, I'm consulting for him as he's building his troop carrier. And he said to me that he went onto the Terrain Tamer website, ordered a lot of parts, probably a similar list as mine, and he received them on a pallet 10 days later on his front doorstep from Australia. That's very impressive, and his vehicle's beautiful. He's doing a really nice retro job on a troop carrier. I've got a spring suspensions, definitely going to change those. The vehicle that I'm buying is stock standard. There's nothing that's been done to it, which is good. The things that I will replace it: a brake upgrade kit. Not sure exactly yet what Terrain Tamer offer for the drum brake Land Cruisers. I'm about to find out. A replacement clutch, an alternator. They do some nice upgraded alternators for it, and the other obvious things like a fuel filter upgrade kit, diff breather kit, air filter, oil filter, hose kit, fan belt kit, and glow plugs. Many components. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna order them, not knowing the condition of the vehicle in detail at this moment. I will only know that when I actually collect it and when we actually climb under it with Paul and Sneeman and actually look at it and say, okay, what has to be replaced? But a vehicle that old with that mileage, there are certain things that you just replace irrespective of their condition. A lot of these decisions will have to be made after we've had a good close inspection. About 2 weeks ago, while I was searching the internet for a Land Cruiser, I recorded my thoughts, my motivations on why I didn't choose another kind of Land Cruiser. South Africa, Land Cruiser is king. They're everywhere and spares are available everywhere, and any other vehicle, if you have a problem with it, in most parts of Africa, you've got a problem because you won't find spares. Toyota is so well represented throughout Africa in terms of spare parts. It is so beyond any other manufacturer. that it's a sensible choice. Secondly, troop carrier. Why not a 76? Cost. I look at the second-hand market, and I've been looking now for about 6 months, maybe a little longer, and every week going through the classified pages, what's available and how much is it going to cost me. Rare as they are, when troop carriers come off the mines, they are far better value. If I have a look at Auto Trader, South Africa's biggest used car website, let's have a look at some other Land Cruisers that are available. That's a troop carrier that the guy looked at and decided that the one I bought was better. That's obviously still for sale. Here's a good comparison. 2012, similar age, 300,000 kilometers, but it's a single cab, same price. Considerably more money for a similar cab. That's the double cab. That was an option, but I decided that I didn't want a double cab, that if I was going to do a Land Cruiser, it would be a single cab. There's something that's similar. Okay, mileage, 264, 580,000, considerably more than I spent for a single cab. That is a V8. So that would probably be the best of the V8 single cabs. Let's have a look at the 76. So let's have a look at the 4.2 and the 4.5. So there is one, a similar price. 285,000 kilometers, but it's a 2007. The 2007 is not the one I wanted because it's got the older dashboard, which is doesn't have airbags, and it doesn't have the safety features of the cruisers made after 2008. The 76 that I owned had this interior, and it had this hideous steering wheel, and I far prefer the newer one. So that wasn't going to work. So a 76 has to be older than 2008 or 9. So there's one there. That's got the 4.2. It's considerably more than I spent, 150,000 rands more. It's got the old interior, so that's no good. So I'd have to go 2009 on a 76. So that's a 76, the same age as the one that I bought, 2013 model. And it's 600,000 rand, 250,000 more than I spent. That's a V8. So let's see what else I can find. That there would be the closest. Similar price to what I paid. It's 2007, too old, not going to be any good. And then we start getting into V8s, and they start at 600,000. But troop carriers, when they come off the mines in South Africa, it's not like the mines in Australia. They don't have the corrosion issues on the mines in South Africa that are the problem with ex-mine vehicles in Australia. They are often a little bit abused, and the interiors are often quite tatty, but these vehicles are very well serviced. They're serviced during their life by the mines. So they're actually quite well maintained. The important bits are well maintained. And because I'm going to be stripping out the interior completely, replacing suspension components, replacing terrain tamer on board, and they said, hey, like we did in 2019, what do you need? So, new wheel bearings. We're going to check out the discs. We're going to check out, if necessary, rebuild the gearbox. The engine, it's quite important that the engine is in good condition, but if it's well maintained, it should be. I like to pride myself on the fact that I'm very honest on my channel, and my aims and my life of four-wheel driving is basically I live in a fishbowl, and I've explained now the real decision making, and I have a budget. It's limited, and I want to build a basic build. I don't want a highly complicated build. Not just because it costs more to do that, because as I've said before, I do get a lot of components and accessories given to me for the publicity, in return for the publicity that I offer the people that give it to me. It's a trade, it's a business deal. And if I think back, still in some respects, my my favourite troop carrier was actually the Green Beauty that I built in South Africa during 2011-2012. And it was that vehicle, when it was presented to a worldwide audience on YouTube, was certainly a key contributor in turning the troop carrier into a bit of a cult status vehicle, because I showed it out to be such a wonderfully practical overlander. Two people overlander, mind you, but still. So you've just witnessed now the actual decision-making process. And what I did is I turned the camera on while making those decisions, and you've just witnessed that. The Africa build will be a basic build. It will not be highly complicated. It will be done to quite a tight budget, and I'm going for practical value for money. And so the next video is actually Gun and I are going to take our new troop carrier and we're going to do a massive drive through South Africa. I'm not going to go camping because it's not equipped for camping, but we're going to drive it as it is. I'm just going to do an all service and check it out, make sure it's okay, and then drive it all the way from Johannesburg, the long scenic route, to Cape Town. Next video, I'll share with you where we're going to go and what we hope to do. See you then. Oh, and like and subscribe. Yeah, I need to do that. You need to do that as well if you want to see the next video. See ya.